This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friends. Welcome to GoOnlineTrainings.com. So we almost done the queries and ranking functions, and hope you guys are doing the school case studies and the supplier case study and iBank case study. People who did not start, okay? So Sam Reddy and others, okay? Please try to do it and make sure you have got all videos till today, and make sure that you have downloaded, and if you're not able to continue further, at least watch the videos and try to do the work, because without doing case studies there is no point in going further. Okay, so you need to put lot of efforts. If not in the morning, at least sit in the evening. If not in the evening, at least sit in the morning, right? So we have covered at least 70% of SQL. Okay, so another 30, 25% to 30% topics are left. So that we're going to cover. And if you're very good in queries, if you're very good in queries, writing the other stuff is very, very easy. Okay, so remaining topics like views, stored procedures, all these things will be very, very easy for you. Clear? So today we're going to discuss, a client server architecture. Before that, I want you to give you one interview question. There is an employee table. Okay, so interview question is asked in the recent, interviews to our students. So employee table, A salary is $1,000, B salary is $2,000, C salary is $1,000, and D salary is 1,200, and E salary is 2,000. The interview question is, who's getting same salary? Right? Who's getting same salary means A is getting 1,000 and similar salary, C is also getting. So your answer would be A comma A and C, and B is getting 2,000, and we have E also is getting the same salary as this. Clear? So the answer is A, C, B, E. So this is the answer. So this is recently asked in many interviews, who's getting same salary? Try to implement, or who's in our account master table, who's having the same balance, right? Who's having same balance if you take account master table. So try to create the simple table if you want to create, and try to achieve this, right? So these are interview questions recently asked. Make sure that all this you have answered, because you can easily crack the interview. And one more guy from previous batch got a job in Bangalore, so in SSIS and SSRS. He confirmed me yesterday. Okay, so previous batch guy. So now we're talking about client server architecture. So we have let us talk about normal architecture. There is a server, right? There is a server and there is a client. So who's client, who's server? So you think about the application, the ATMs, ATM application. ATM is a client, and whenever you go to ATM and try to withdraw the cash, or try to deposit the cash, or trying to check your balance, right? So that is what is your client machine. So you go to the client machines, okay, and you do lot of transactions, right? So if you go to a bank, you go to ATM machine, and you're trying to do something here. Some applications are going to run in the client side. What applications will get installed in this? You have application like SAP or .NET or Angular JS, right? So this is, and you have Java, right? Or it could be Android application also, right? So client applications means any language specific applications are called client applications, and these are called front end applications. Clear? So SAP, Java, .NET, Angular JS, Android, and we're talking about nowadays Python, right? All these are called as front end languages, and these are meant for client purpose, client communication purpose. Clear? So you think about Amazon.com. So this is a client application only. I can go to my laptop. So I'll say Amazon.in. So whatever it is, India, right? Amazon.in. I wanted to buy something, or I wanted to, go here and look for some books. Clear? I would like to search. So when I'm opening this site, this means I'm opening a client. So my laptop is a client machine, and the Amazon.in is the website which is built using either Java, .NET, or Angular JS. So something like that. It is happening. So this is a client application. My laptop is a client. So I go here, I click on something. For example, I wanted to choose books. Now I would like to choose beauty and look for something. Clear? Or I wanted to say men shirt. Okay, men shirts like thing. I want to go here and click on this. I will be able to get men shirts. Clear? So when I'm clicking on something, I'm getting some data, right? From where is this data located, and from how I'm able to get these pictures, this price and everything. So all the pictures, price, lot of data I'm getting. So from where I'm getting? Do you think that all this is available in Amazon.in website? No. Amazon.in, it is a client web application which is open in the client side. My laptop is a client machine. When I click on that search button, which is going to go to one server. Clear? So one server, this server is will be having a database. Clear? So this is my database, could be Amazon database, right? So Amazon database, and where you have lot of tables, right? So lot of tables would have been created. All the data is available in the tables. Okay. Now what I wanted to get, so I'll simply go to the website. I'll say I need, some kind of a thing, some kind of a data. So what will happen? It is going to go, the request will go, because if you're looking for something, so what is the query that we're going to be writing in AngularJS.NET? Select star, get all the things. So from the products table, okay, query something like this, where category is equals to men shirts, okay, men shirt, something like this. So when you go and give men shirts here, and when you click on this icon, so what will happen? So this website is writing a query. This website is writing a query internally. The query is similar to this. Select star from products where category equals to men shirts. Clear? Or category equals to books, or category equals to books and subcategory equals to some novels, or something else, or books related to finance and management, something like this, category and subcategory. So whenever you click on something, you make sure this website is talking to a database server. Clear? So this server is called as a database server, because here we are going to be having any database like Oracle may be there, or SQL server may be there, or it may be MySQL will be there, right? So anything can be there. But whenever you go to any client applications are always developed with what? Languages. Remember. Clear? So front end applications means it is client applications. So, and these are called backend applications. So backend applications are completely what? Backend apps are completely database applications. Okay. So Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL, Teradata, Netezza, all RDBMS apps are called as backend applications. All languages are called as front-end applications. Clear? Front-end applications will be installed in the client machines. Backend applications are installed in the server machines. Clear? So you have one server and you have thousands of ATM machines. You have one server, many people like me who are going to be connecting to the Amazon.in using a website, using a mobile phone, so using any other device. So once our many clients will be there. So each and every time, so I have connected, I wanted to get the men product. So what happens? So this code would have been written where? In the front end application. So when I click men shirts, so when I click on this button, so this query would travel. So this is the query would go from where to where? From here to here, it is going to go and it will get executed. It will get executed because you have tables. Tables contains data, so it's going to be executing. And after that, what happens? You will be able to get the data. So that is what is called a response. Clear? So request will go in the form of a query, and response is going to be coming as form of what? Either if you don't have the products, it will say no products available, or it is going to show you some data. So response in the form of a message or a data, request will be you're calling a query. Am I clear? So that is how the client and server applications are going to communicate. Now you understand how many people are going to be connecting to Amazon website, daily. Do you think that only one guy, or do you think that only 3,000 guys, 4,000 guys? It will be lakhs of people, millions of people every hour, every month, every day going to be connecting. You think everybody is, select star from products where category equals to women products or baby products, men products. So lot of queries are getting generated, and this query is going to go and it will get executed. Clear? And you will be able to get the data. And one more guy is going to open one more website again. From this website, when you click on this, this website internally creating this kind of a query. Clear? So this query is available inside SAP, inside .NET, inside AngularJS, inside Java and Android. Remember? Clear? So what is this query? This query belongs to SQL, but this is embedded inside where? .NET. This is embedded inside AngularJS. This is embedded inside Java. This is embedded inside Android. Clear? So whenever you go and click something, so these kind of queries are getting generated. For example, you go to ATM. You go to ATM. I wanted to check my balance. What is the query that will be there? Select see balance. Now we know we have an account master table where account ID is equivalent to your account number. What is your account number? 1234, right? So as soon as you go to ATM, put your card and check my account balance. So what will happen? So this kind of a query would have been written inside ATM. So this query will get executed here. Then you will be able to get the data. Now you think how many people are going to be executing this query daily? So it is only 3 lines of code. You assume that it may be 3,000 line of code, or it may be 1,000 line of code. So every time 1,000 lines of code is going to go from client and to the server. Client may be all over the world, server may be in single place, like maybe in Singapore, Malaysia, China, or maybe in India, maybe in Dubai, maybe in America, we don't know. So all time the connection is going to carry all your lines to here. From where to here? From client machine to server machine. If it is having 3,000 lines of code, every time 3,000 lines will go. So tomorrow, again, new customer is going to come. His number will be something else. So only this part will change, right? So again, the same code is going to, be there. So again, these lines of code is going to travel from client to the server. So do you see any issue? Yes, there is a lot of issues here. The first issue, we are writing a lot of SQL code where? In the front end applications. But where is the data? The data is available in your backend application. How do you store the data? In the form of a tables, and we create lot of primary key and foreign key, lot of relationships. Clear? How do you display the data? So do you display the data in SQL Server? No, we always display the data in the front end applications, and beautifully we're going to be displaying the data. But if you say select star from the table, it is not going to display the data like this. Okay, so the client applications get the data and beautifully they are going to be arranging the data and displaying. That is the reason why we are not going to be displaying the data in the tabular format. So that is the data stored in the databases, but that is not the way we are going to be displaying the data to the client people, right? So we are going to be getting the data, and the data will get displayed in this manner. So that is how the client and server is going to be getting, storing the data done by the databases, and displaying the data beautifully done by the languages. Clear? Displaying the data beautifully done by the languages. Now see how they have organized the data. The font size is bigger, then they have a photo, then they have a simple, the size, currency symbol, and a lot of things. They're writing all this data and say 5% and the prime members, bestsellers. So all this data coming from databases only. Clear? But you don't show the data in the tabular format. And how do you display the data? So that intelligence, that logic will be given to the languages. Languages will process the data. I told you, right? So process for summing operations, process for displaying, process for doing a lot of other things. Clear? So here formatting processing, right? Increasing the font, giving the star symbols, and lot of things you're going to show, and it has a proper shape in the for each and every color. So a lot of things done by the front end applications only, right? So that is the beauty about Java.NET, everything. But the problem is every time whenever you click on get my balance, this is a get my balance is a simple link, okay, or show my balance. When you click on this link in the ATM, these lines will go. So there are a lot of issues here. What are the issue? The following are the disadvantages when we keep the code at the client side. Network traffic is very, very high. Why? Because every time people will go to the ATM and click on get my balance. So this query will go and get executed unnecessarily. These three lines or 3000 lines will go from client to server. Client in India, server is in say New Zealand. So what happens? Network traffic is too much because every line, these 3000 lines will go every time. The 3000 lines of code will go, it will get executed there because data is available here, the code is available in the client machine. So as part of Java.NET Angular JS, so network traffic is too high, maintenance of the code is very, very difficult. Tomorrow you change the table name. The table name was earlier account master. Now the table name has been changed, it is AMR table. Okay, when you change the table name, you have a lot of ATMs, and all ATMs you have to reinstall the new applications because old application has this one AM. Now we need to change this application to AMR and reinstall this Java.NET applications because this code is available inside .NET. So you need to open .NET and change the all the names here and reinstall in all ATM machines new applications. So there is small change at the server side leads to lot of other changes in the front end applications as well. So this is what is called maintenance of the code is very, very difficult. Clear? And no security for the code at the client side. That means code can be tampered very, very easily. Now can you tell me, so anybody, any hacker directly going to the server is very, very difficult. Okay, any guy going to the server is very, very difficult. For example, can you go to president of India's place today and can you meet him? It is very, very impossible. But if the president of India comes to Hyderabad, I can meet him in a airport, or I can meet him probably in a meeting hall. If there is a meeting and public can be gathered, I can just go there, so we can I can be there in the event. So it is very, very difficult. I cannot go to the president's house or president's place, but when the president comes to my place, I can easily meet him. That means what? So nobody can directly go to the server and attacks, but people can attack, hackers can attack so easily to the client machines. Clear? So what they do, they hack. This is a hacker. this guy will hack in AngularJS. So this is this application is developed in AngularJS. So using AngularJS, this application can go and hack the server. Clear? Because all the code is available in the client machine. Anybody can create an account in the client, and if the client is having not a proper code, because all the code is available in the Angular JS itself. So I can see, and I came to know that the table names, the column names, everything I came to know. If I came to know each and everything, I can plan to kill somebody, right? So I know that this guy will come every day morning 6 o'clock for jogging, so nobody will be there. So 7 o'clock I can go to the park and I can catch him, I can kill him. So hacking or killing somebody can be done very, very easily when they come out. Okay, when they come out, you cannot go to their place, and killing them is very, very difficult. So what happens? Any hackers will hack the Angular JS, and using this, people can go and hack the servers. Clear? So many times hacking is going to be happening not directly through the servers. Clear? So recently Gmail is hacked. Gmail is hacked by somebody else, and immediately Google responded to that. They clearly said nobody's hacked Gmail servers directly. So many people were not closing the website properly. They are simply closing it. They are not signing off. Okay, if you don't sign off, if you don't give proper user IDs and passwords, if you simply click on come out, then any hacker can use or steal your passwords. They can come through your Gmail account to the Google server. So the hacking is happened through the client machines only, not directly to the servers. Clear? So if you have a lot of code here, anybody can hack the code, anybody can also tamper the code. Clear? Because code is visible here, so I can rewrite the code here, I can modify whatever I wanted to write it. So so .NET, Java, Android applications can be easily tampered, because these are client applications, and using these applications, we are embedding the code also in Java .NET, so your servers also can be tampered easily. Okay, no security on the client side. So performance of the code is very, very slow, because why? Every time these 3000 lines will go, you need to have network bandwidth. If the network is not very speed, then it will be very, very slow. So writing what code I'm talking about? SQL code. Where are we writing? We are embedding the SQL code into front-end applications like SAP, Java, .NET, Android. So because we are not able to centralize this code. Clear? Because I can open my SQL server and I can write lot of code. So let me open my SQL server. Okay. So always you have front end and back end application. This is my SQL server, right? So let me connect to my SQL server. Now, or Oracle, oh, I wanted to write some query. I wanted to write some query. So use iBank, and I wanted to see select C balance from account master table. Okay, and where account ID is equivalent to, let us say, 107. So I wanted to get his account. Now I have written a beautiful query, but the problem is if I close this query, if I close this window, this query is gone. So the problem in SQL Server is I am not able to store the query. If I create a table, if I create a table, the beauty is that create a table employee or some ABC table, you say ID is integer, name is varchar, okay, name is varchar. I'm able to, get this. I'm able to create this, and let me say, go to use iBank. And the beauty is that this, table is, there. The table is available here. So if I create a table, table is getting centralized. Okay, the table is available here. So the table name is called ABC table is somewhere here. Clear? But if I create a table, if I create a query, this query is not saved anywhere. Clear? So I can get the syntax. If I even though I close this, I can get the syntax very easily. I simply go here and say script table as a create to new query window. I'm able to get the syntax which I have written. Clear? So that is perfectly fine. There is no issue at all. But the problem is if I'm writing a query, the query is not getting saved anywhere. So if I close the window, what happened? It's taking a lot of time. Okay. So let me close this. I don't want to have it. Okay. So you should be able to get the code. Right click on this, select, sorry, it is showing the data. But I wanted to get the script. Okay. So go to script table as create to new query window. You should be able to write the complete, syntax, create table, table name, everything will be written. So let me stop. It is taking a lot of time. Now clear. So if I create a query, this query is not getting saved anywhere. If it is not getting saved anywhere, so what I'm doing? So all these queries I am going to be embedding where inside Java.NET. Only one thing we are going to be supplying here is a parameter. Okay. So here we're not going to be giving any data. So the data will be taken at the time of the customer comes to the ATM. The customer is going to be inserting the code. The same card number is going to be taken here. Clear? So this code is not getting centralized. Clear? So that is what is the big issue in the RDBMS. Clear? But if I wanted to centralize the code, if I wanted to take this code and write it here for that purpose, so tables are centralized, data is centralized. I wanted to centralize the code also. Clear? So nowhere your queries are getting centralized. So along with the tables data, I wanted to centralize my code. Clear? So how can we centralize code? To centralize the code, we have three options available. Okay. So what are the three options a database can give you? Either you can create a view. So this is the first option to centralize your code. To centralize your data, you create a table, right? To centralize your code, you need to create a view, or you can create a stored procedure, or the last one, you can create a function. That's it. Clear? So there are three things to centralize your code. Either you can create a view, or you can create a stored procedure, or you can create a function, but you don't write these loose statements like this. Clear? For example, I go here. If I create a query like this query is not saved anywhere, not saved anywhere. Okay. But I wanted to save this as part of my iBank database. Now you can create a view. So how to create a view? I will tell you the syntax, but I'll show you how to create a view now. Create a view, VW, say get my balance. Okay, get my balance. And as I'm writing something here and execute this. I have executed. Now I close this. I close this. Now I simply refresh. Now I go to view. Now there is a view called get my balance. Now you simply see your balance. When you execute this, the balance is this much. You're executing a view, you're getting. But if you wanted to see the code, right click on this. Now you say design. So you should be able to get your code very easily. This is your code. Clear? So what is the beauty about a view? View is very simply, it can capture, you can create a query itself, because query cannot be stored anywhere. Query cannot be stored anywhere. So that is a query is a code. Okay, the query, the code either can be stored inside a view, or you can store inside a stored procedure, or you can have inside a function. So this is what is called code centralization. Clear? If you wanted to centralize the code, don't ever write these loose statements. What you do, You take this complete query. This query can be inside a view, or this query can be inside a stored procedure, or this query can be inside a function. Clear? So this is how you are going to be writing your code. But if you write simply select star from, you will not be able to store anywhere. If you wanted to centralize it, keep this in inside a view. What is a view? View is a box. You think as a small box, or you can say a container. So what you do? You keep the query inside a box, and the box is called a view. Clear? So we are getting a salt and lot of spices, and what we do? We open small, we buy small containers, and we put them. We put the salt into a container, and that container are going to be stored in our kitchen. So all the salt will get centralized, right? If you have a spice and spices and any other thing, so we're going to be having one more container, and we're going to be putting that into one more container. For example, oil can be stored differently, and the powders can be stored differently, salts and other things. So like that, we have different containers where you can centralize your items in the kitchen. Like that, we have a view. What is a view? View can be a container. You can think like that. Stored processor is one more container, or function is one more container. So you have a beverage can be stored separately, a ice cubes can be stored separately, and if you have a liquor, that can be stored separately, and if you have a lot of other items can be stored separately. So view, stored procedure, functions are the RDBMS features which are used to centralize your code. Am I clear? So that is what you need to understand. So this code is going to go, this query is going, can go to a view, can go to a stored procedure, can go to a function. But the query, but the question is that when should I go in for a view? When should I go in for a stored procedure? When should I go in for a function? So this is what we need to understand. Clear? So you never write any loose codes like this. Clear? If you write, this code cannot be stored anywhere. Either this code can be a part of a view, or this code can be a part of a stored procedure, or this code can be a part of a function. For example, you got some item from the store, then you opened it. So can you keep like that? No, you need to take all the items from that packet and put into a small container so that you can easily preserve. Clear? You will not be able to, keep these codes in this. Now you are going to be putting this query into a view or a procedure or a function. Now what you do, you can simply call this. Either call a view, or you can call a function, or you can call a stored procedure. Clear? So you may be having 1,000 lines of code, that will be a view, or that can be a stored procedure, that can be a function. Only you should be able to call the view, calling a function, calling a this one. So this is what is called centralization of the code. Clear? Instead of keep the code in the server client, we are going to be keeping the code in the server side. To overcome the above issues, we need to centralize the code at the server side. To keep the code, we have following either views, or we can go in for a store procedure, or we can go in for a functions. There are some limitations I have written. So this we'll discuss later. Clear? So these are the things that you need to understand why we have to go in for a view, go in for a stored procedure, go in for a function. What is the answer? Why view? Why stored procedure? Why function means what is the answer? To centralize the code. Why tables? To centralize the data. Why view? To centralize the code. Why function? To centralize the code. Why stored procedure? To centralize the code. Clear? Now, the beauty I will tell you. The beauty I will tell you. Now, so what are we doing every time? If you need something directly, you're attacking this guy, right? Directly we attack at the table. Select star from table. So when you write like this, what is the meaning? You tell me. When I say select star from table account master, where account ID is equivalent to 102. That means what? Every time you're attacking account master table. So account master table is going to be containing all customers in a balance amount. If you give this account master table to the client, For example, you're writing a code like this, and .NET is able to get all the data from this. So .NET is a client side, right? So anybody can easily come to this website and they can see complete balance. All customers they can easily see, because you are exposing the complete hub of the data. Where is the data? All the customer data is available in this table. This table is maybe getting exposed with the same name and everything. So when you're exposing the table names and everything, what happens? So you're exposing the tables itself to where? To the client, and this one. So anybody can easily hack the tables, because tables are having large amount of data. So this is the wealth of the company. Now tell me, what is the wealth of the company? Amazon wealth is not in the t-shirt, not in the business. Amazon wealth is there in its data, right? If they lose their data, what happens? So they lose the business, right? Think about a banking system. If they lose the completed data from the tables, what happens? Then they lost complete data. The complete business is lost, right? So what is the wealth of the company? Wealth of the company is not the code, not the hardware, not the human being, not the manager, not the CEO. Wealth of the company is today their data. Important. So each and every table, you cannot see this as a table. You cannot see this as a table. It is a wealth. 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 It is a wealth of the company. You cannot see this as a data point, right? So you can say iBank is a big, wealth, and so this is a lot of wealth this table is going to be containing. If they lose the data from this, that means the company is losing a lot of wealth. Clear? So, so we should not simply expose the wealth of the company to, others people. For example, if I wanted to get the data, I should not write the code like this. I wanted to simply create a view, and you write some ABC view and write, you should be able to say select star from blah, 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 right? Where you're writing something here, 103. So you're going to be creating a view, and what are you going to give? You're going to give the view name to the client. So this is how view can be called. So don't worry what is a view, how to syntax. So now you're going to be executing this view. Now there is a difference between you are exposing the table and you are exposing the view. Okay, when I expose the view, maximum times you will get exposure to this. If I give you, instead of not writing this, if I give you a query like this, if you simply remove this, you can execute it. So when you execute it, what will happen? Complete data will get exposed, right? But if I expose the view, this is the view. So when I expose the view, you don't know from which table you're getting the data. You don't know what is that you can do. Maximum you can read this data only. You will not be able to go anywhere. Clear? So what we should not give permission to the client application. You don't give directly permission to the tables. You always say you go to a view, or you go to a procedure, you go to a function. So always you go, and this guy will go and get the data, and the data will be given it to you. That means what? So this is what is your table data. Remember, these are the tables, right? Tables are wealth. So you cannot attack directly writing a query. So now we are writing direct queries. How are we writing the queries now? We are writing very simply. We are writing going select star from account master table where account ID equals to 101. So what is the problem there? We are exposing the tables directly to the client applications, right? Since we are in the training, we are not aware of this. So you are writing the queries on the tables, but tables are not any simply tables. These are the wealth for the companies. You don't expose anything to the client applications like this. So what you do? In between, you create a middle guy. The middle guy is called, it can be your view, or can be a stored procedure, or can be a function. Clear? So this is the middleman. So middleman. So these guys are exposed to this, and this middleman is going to come here, and going to expose. Now see the beauty. What happens? You guys, maximum you can harm the, either you can delete a view, you can hack the view, you can hack the stored procedure, you can hack a function, but this guy cannot come to the table directly. Clear? So that is the beauty. So view stored procedure functions will give you security to the tables. Because if I wanted to read the data earlier, I'm simply saying select star from this. Now I am saying no, you cannot go to the table directly, you call the view. View is internally going and executing the data, query, and the query is getting the data. So what is the advantage? For example, so this is you, or this is a Biden. Biden is the president, right? President, meeting the people directly is very, very dangerous, because this guy can kill the Biden easily. But the president is, is having in middleman, there is a PA or the security person will be sitting. If you wanted to meet the Biden, so the president of India, Modi, so what will happen? You cannot directly come here. There is a middleman that you need to visit these guys. So a middleman could be a security or a police officer or a PA. All the people are available here. So you need to tell them that I wanted to meet Mr. Modi or meet Mr. Biden. So they'll say that tell me who, the details and everything, and you will get scrutinized by this fellow. Okay. But if you have a gun and everything, maximum you can kill these guys only. Maximum you can kill these guys. But who's safe? Biden is safe and Modi is safe. Clear? So stored procedure and view functions are middlemans, are security features. It is going to be centralizing the code. If you wanted to store the data, if you wanted to retrieve the data, so the client application can talk to a view or a stored procedure or a function. So normally in a database, what we do? We do only two actions. Either you read the data or you write the data, right? So what is that other thing you do? So reading the data, writing the data can be done not directly by going to the tables. Reading the data, writing the data can be done via a stored procedure, via a function, via a view. So you're not allowed, say, select star from account master table. That is completely banned. Clear? So .NET, Java, Angular, all these people are going to be communicating. All these people are going to be communicating to the backend applications through what? Through a view, through a stored procedure, through a function. You cannot say, I have a table, you take the table and show your data, whatever you wanted to show. That is very dangerous. So, as a SQL Server developers, what we do? We create a blank tables, then we create a views, we create a stored procedures, we create a functions, and we expose view and stored procedure functions to the front end guys. So every time whenever you click on something, what will happen? Either a view is getting called, or a stored procedure is getting called, or maybe function is being called. Remember that. Clear? It is not a query which is getting generated no more. Clear? The front end application, when I click men's shirts, and if I go here, if I say baby products, or if I say select all, like I can choose some video games, and if I'm clicking something and clicking on this button, so below this button, home appliances and home appliances, and click on this. Clear? So now what happens? So when I'm choosing home appliances, click on this button is having a stored procedure, or this button below the button may be a stored procedure, maybe a view, a function is getting called. Clear? It is not a query. Select star from the products table where category equals to home appliances. It is not the query anymore. Clear? It is now whenever I choose something, I click on something, you understand, either a view is getting executed, or a stored procedure is being executed, or a function is being executed. Clear? So if I wanted to buy this product, I click on this. When I click on this, I wanted to add my cart, or I wanted to simply buy this product. Clear? If I wanted to buy this product, so I wanted to simply add go, and so I have to give everything and click on someday. I need to give my payment details and click on this. So that time, what is happening? I read the data. Now I'm writing my data. So what is the data? My payment details and the payment made. All the data is going to be writing. Clear? So I read the data. So reading is happening either a view or a stored procedure or a function. And now I wanted to buy a product. So I wanted to again use these fellows. These fellows will write the data into the tables, and these fellows will write the data from the tables. So the front end applications cannot access the tables. Tables are wealth of the company. So only the stored procedure view and functions are exposed. And you are a SQL developer means you are going to be working on a view, you are going to be working on a stored procedure, you are going to be working on a function. Clear? 20% of the time. Okay, 20% of the time only. Okay, so for example, you may be working only 10% views, you may be working 10% of time in functions, you may be working 10% of the time in creating tables and primary key and foreign keys. Okay, 10%, 10%, 10%, 30% the complete database development will be part of here, and remaining 70% you are going to be working in this feature only. Remember this. Clear? So much more time. So what is the our work? So our work will be 70% of the SQL development will be stored procedures development. What is a stored procedure? As of now, it is a feature to centralize the code. What is a view? It is a feature to centralize the code. What is a function? Which is a feature to centralize the code. As of now, you think, okay. So you can do all operations. Read means what? Read means a select, right? Read means a select operations you can do. Writing means what? Writing means what is writing? Inserting and updating and deleting. So these operations only these people can do. View, stored procedure, and function. Either you insert the data, delete the data, or select the data, or read the data, right? So a stored procedure and a function view, what are the things it can perform? Only these two. What are the actions you do in RDBMS? So RDBMS actions are only these two: writing the data, reading the data. You are not going to do anything else, right? So that's what you should know. So what store procedure can do, what a function can do, what a view can do. Either you read the data or you insert the data, you update the data, you delete the data. You cannot do anything else, right? But you are not exposed to the tables directly. So remember, 80%, 70% of the time when you get a job in RDBMS SQL Server, people will ask you to write store procedures, store procedures, store procedures. If you wanted to write a store procedures, you should be good in queries. Okay, you should be good in queries. Okay, if you wanted to write a view, you should be good in queries. If you wanted to write a function, you should be good in functions. Clear? So you should be good in queries. So if you wanted to write anything, you are good in queries only. If you know queries, writing a view, writing a stored procedure, writing a function is very, very easy. If you don't know queries very well, if you don't know queries, you don't know 90% of SQL, I'm telling you. You don't, you know only 10% how to create a table, drop a table. Clear? So view, stored procedure functions completely dependent on queries only. If you don't know queries, you don't know 90% of RDBMS, I'm telling you, right? Focus on queries first. So all the queries for 2 weeks we discussed, take the, all videos and one by one, one by one. If you don't have the videos, you let me know. I will send the videos once again. You download them and watch, especially Sambasiva Reddy and others, people who are not regular to the classes. Clear? So you do that and complete. Clear, guys? So what is the purpose of the view? What is the purpose of the stored procedure? What is the purpose of query? Let me remove this. What is the purpose of the view? What is the purpose of a stored procedure and function? And what is the work maximum time we are going to be doing in our SQL development means? That is stored procedure. What is a stored procedure? As of now, to centralize the code, but we'll see the differences between or among view, store procedures, functions later. Clear? So this is the client server architecture. So you don't expose the tables directly to the front end applications. You expose view, store procedures, functions to the front end application. So Java developer is going to be asking you, I would like to display these items. So which stored procedure should I call? Clear? The stored proc name The stored proc will be prepared by the a SQL developer, and that will be called in the Java. It's called by the Java developer. Clear? That's what. So how the communication between client and servers are going to be happening through view or stored procedures and functions only. Am I clear, guys? So this is what is the learning point. Any questions? Okay. In tomorrow's class, we'll discuss about what is a view. It will take maximum 2 days, and after that, we'll start with the stored procedures. It will take 1 week of time, and the functions will take 2 days. Clear? That's it. So we'll discuss about these things. Any other questions, guys?